What does it mean to navigate motherhood while pursuing a postgraduate degree? How do students balance identity, care, and academia in a world not built with them in mind? In this IDS Between the Lines podcast, MA Gender and Development students Patronela Tshuma, Chaltu Merera Fana, and Akinyi Ochieng speak about their journeys as mothers pursuing higher education. Hosted by Akinyi Ochieng, the episode delves into personal stories of motivation, cultural expectations, identity conflicts, and the transformative power of education.
It's a beautiful day. The UK weather is very beautiful today, and with me today are three amazing African fellow women seated in this space. All students at the Institute of Development Studies undertaking Masters in Gender and Development. And we are here on this particular platform today to discuss our motherhood and education experience. And it's an amazing conversation because we are reflecting on very two key and big issues that women face around the globe, and both are conflicting and bring different opposing emotions to them. They're both empowering and sometimes feel also draining at the same time. And so we share this space just to have a dialogue around what that means for us, how we see it, and how we hope that the future students who consider to come to IDS will also feel around this. But before we deep dive into this discussion, I would like us to first introduce ourselves so that we may know the ladies who will share this space. So I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Akinyi Ochieng. I'm from Kenya. I'm a culture shaper. That's how I define myself. A lady who spikes sexuality conversations back at home. I'm a mom of two. I'm a daughter. I'm a wife. Generally a caregiver in the community. And I invite Nella to tell us a bit about herself.
Thank you, Akinyi. My name is Patronela Tshuma. I am a woman who loves women and girls, and my agenda is basically to redefine stereotypes that surround womanhood, that surround motherhood, and that surround being born in a community that is relegated and underprivileged as a woman. Thank you.
Thank you, Nella, for that.
Thank you. My name is Chaltu Merera Fana, and I'm from Ethiopia. And I usually define myself as a multi-professional, as I am a lecturer, a consultant, a researcher, and now a student, and a mother of two. Thank you.
Thank you all, ladies, for that introduction. You can see we bring different, diverse versions of womanhood into this space. Now, as we begin and reflect on the conversation around motherhood and education, I don't know how many years it took for you to come back to school, but what really challenged you to come back to school, and how many years has it taken for you before you made the decision to come back to university?
It took me a while, actually. It was around 10 years, and it wasn't a decision, it wasn't a career decision, actually. It was a career as well as a life decision, because it meant a growth for me intellectually, a desire to grow intellectually, and a desire to equip myself with the tools that are out there to challenge injustices, as well as to make myself ready for different challenges that come across inequality. And the challenges that I have to come across where one of the things that motherhood usually is seen as a space, or it is a moment where there is a full stop, and we are expected to stop everything, pause, and then sometimes to end. And for me, it's the same as well. But then I have to say no. I have to go beyond those challenges. It's an unspoken kind of norm that will tell us, okay, once you're a mother, you have to stop there. Okay. And just your chores and your life should revolve around caring others. So for me, just have a kind of way of defining those norms quietly.
Well, is there a reason why 2024 was the year for you to come back to school?
Yes, because one of the things was always there is no challenge to who we are, the more we wait. Because I always ask myself, do you have spare time? I don't have spare time. And I took myself, okay, there's no perfect time. It's my time. It's a you time, not our time or something. So there's no spare time. So I just have to pull myself out of those norms. And then I have to say to myself, okay, you have to invest in yourself as well. And then bring myself into this arena of education and tell myself, okay, you need self-investment, because there is no you, and no one would do what I would be doing in my own space. So I have to challenge that one so that I can come here and join you guys.
Nella, what stood out for you?
Oh my God, that's interesting. All right, you will be surprised that my education career was shaped by me becoming a mother. I had my daughter in 2012 when I was 26, and I said to myself, I'm going back to school. And that was just the beginning. That's how it began for me. And in 2013, I started my undergrad, and it didn't stop from there. After my undergrad in 2017, I did a postgrad. Then after that, I did a master's in strategic management. And for me, I think that degree was literally a moment when my mindset shifted, because it was at that point when I realized that there is a lot that women and girls are missing out on. These opportunities are there, but we're not tapping into them simply because we do not know much about them, and we're spending most of our time focusing on being mothers. So I suppose for me, when motherhood kicked in, I probably had to shift my mindset from completely being a mom, because I'm a single mom, and the strain that comes with that, I suppose, was what made me think I can diversify into being a student and a mother. And fast forward in 22, I decided that I wanted to study abroad, just to reshape the narrative for all women that are in my position. I just started dreaming about it. Literally, when I was lying back, I just literally imagined myself in one of those prestigious institutions doing my MA, and it led to me taking action and actually thinking, if I were to make this dream become a reality, how many other women would learn from my experience? How many single mothers will be motivated to believe that life doesn't end or begin by being defined as somebody's parent? So that's when I decided to say, let me do my studies. And I applied to the Institution of Development Studies, and I was accepted. So it was a beautiful moment for me, because it also took away most of the doubt that comes with being a single mother. Because when you're a single mother, you have to face a lot of backlash in communities. When you're trying to impact or effect change, everyone wants to first define you as a single mom and what you can bring into the community. Because literally, where we come from, single motherhood is associated with loose morals, with somebody who has failed in keeping a man. And for me, the narrative was, I will not be defined by a man, I will be defined by my own terms. Thank you, and over.
Thank you. I'm hearing beautiful stories around culture shaping in different ways. I think for me, going back to school, even though I can say I've never stopped learning since I stepped into school, I finished my undergrad about 15 years ago. I started a master's degree, but in between that, I was a mom to 2 kids. And so I decided to take a break and just focus on my children for a few years and see them grow. And after that, of course, I still wanted to go back to school. So I learned different programs, as you put it, along the way. But there was also always that thing lacking in my mind that I can go beyond borders and just be beyond the borders. And I think what also shaped my thinking and picking IDS for me was because I'd seen several other Kenyans come to IDS. So I will relate to the beautiful stories that they share around the international education. And that was also what really motivated me to really apply and come. And 2024 was the year for me, because I also saw that my children were now capable of just being in that space where they could separate from their mom and be for that short particular period. And so when the opportunity came for me to come and study abroad, I never hesitated. In fact, I remember the first person I asked, I want to go back to school and go study away, was my little boy. And he said, Mom, go, so long as you bring me a souvenir from UK. So I still owe him a souvenir from the United Kingdom. But I think it's motherhood, as we all share, brings us that space of thinking about marrying the two. And I know this journey has not been easy either. So we have touched a bit of it in some of the ways in which we've challenged the narratives, even to step out of the confine of motherhood and even the confine of being in your country and you can't travel because you have children. What has it been like for you, like the biggest societal change that you've had to reshape within your own space to like take up this opportunity of study?
I would like to add more on the previous one as well. Like for me also, what came into my mind was not like, it's not about only challenging the other people's or the other, it's also challenging myself, because there was this guilt of me like saying, okay, are you really a mom? Are you really enough? Are you there? Are you present? And also like choosing myself to grow also have been a challenge, because I thought that is some part of me was thinking that is also selfish, growing for myself. So that was also one thing that I have to challenge, as the realization of that kicking in, and I realized that it's also about survival, and also it's about liberating myself, not only about the other people's. Thank you.
Any particular big shift that you had to do beyond yourself as you thought about coming to school, like a narrative that you really had to change, even around your friends, your community, your parents? Yeah.
Well, that's huge. That's something that I'm really proud about, honestly, because for most of the mothers, it's difficult to move even within their country, let alone far away from their country and raising kids at the same time, because it's not women who are prioritized. It's usually the father, and people won't be asking, where is the mother? Where are you? How are you going to let your kids away? And how are you, with whom they are going to live? How are they going to survive? Then that narrative is broken now, because I can, like, it's like I can make this coexist now. I am a student and also a mother, and they are not mutually exclusive. So they can coexist, and for that matter, they can coexist beautifully and powerfully. And I love learning much, because it changes the narrative of a woman can go beyond, and also a man can take care of, like a father also can take care of their kids back home, because I have my husband there, he is alive, well doing, so in a healthy status as me. So it kind of put us in, not like, okay, after he did this I can do this, but we can do it all together while the kids are doing or growing. I can grow as well. So now people say, okay, that's really beautiful. Everybody will call you, everybody who pointed a finger at you, oh, she left her kids, now can say, oh, she is very brave now, she can do this. And also I can see people, as I came here through Chevening Scholarship, now I can see people asking me, oh, can I go now? I could be the next you. So that will keep me as kind of this power and encouragement and motivation to move forward.
Yeah, I love that. Breaking it and then going beyond yourself to change the narrative around that. What is different for you, Nella, as a single mom, that you had to reflect on coming here?
Okay, single motherhood on its own is a complex terrain to navigate. So I have always been a liberal human being, and I take pride in that, because it is an element that is not beautiful in our society. you're supposed to be shaped and molded in a certain way. And for me, that has always been what I cannot, live within. So when my daughter was 8 years old, I took her to boarding school. And you can imagine the outcry. So you want to make more babies now. That's why you're sending her away. And I was like, yes, it wouldn't really be a bad idea to make 20 more babies in that space of time. Because at that point, no one understood my dream. My dream was mine, and I had to find a way of balancing my dream and my daughter's reality. And for me, that was the starting point. I had to create a relationship with her where she understood that I am her mom and she's my daughter. But outside that, we're separate individuals. And it was not easy for me to leave her, because this was the first time of me going away for such a long time. And in my mind, I started asking myself, have I done enough for her to be able to survive the whole year without me? Have I done enough to build myself to be able to survive away from her? Because I always say, I think I need her more than she needs me. Because when you consider raising a girl child, it's a delicate situation. And there's a lot that comes to your mind when you think of leaving a person who is that young to pursue literally my dream that is somehow selfish to most people, as Fana is saying. So I suppose for me, it was constantly reaffirming myself and making peace with the fact that it was already in motion. It's something that was unavoidable because I started it 5 years ago. It was just leading to this. This was the big moment that I was shaping her and I was shaping myself for. So regardless of, the difficulty of having to uproot myself and come here, I told myself it was all leading to this moment. But in, I think around April, I started to really melt down because the pressure of missing my daughter was too much. That's one thing I wanted to bring to light, to say it may be beautiful and it has all this, radiance around it that we all say, I want to be a part of this movement of women that are shapeshifters, that change communities and narratives. But in April, I really started, I think I had a mild depression, if I can call it that. And at that time, I knew I couldn't move forward without connecting with my daughter. So I took a step back and I said, I'm going home. I'm going to spend time with my daughter. And the moment I saw her, Akinyi, like everything fell into place. And I knew it was the right decision. And I think I'm glad that being here has been able to expose me to be in touch with, my vulnerabilities as a human being and as a woman. Because it was something that I was able to talk about. Say, I do not think I can move forward without seeing my daughter. At this point, I need to feel her and touch her because I miss that. And, everyone around me, including the two of you, were so supportive and made me feel I'm not an alien to feel that way. I went home, I reunited with my daughter, and when I came back, I felt so much emancipated than I did, or maybe than I've ever felt before, because I was able to admit to myself that I'm only human and I can only take so much as one person. But beyond this point, I can still push to the end. And I think for me, that's one thing that I can say no one can ever take away from me at this point. So I really treasure that.
I just love the way different aspects of the struggles to intersect education and motherhood is coming out, from societal to your self-belief, to your self-doubt, to reaffirming your feelings as a mom in the process, and just acknowledging that they both can exist. I like using the metaphor of the zebra. Zebra is an African animal that has the black and white prints, and they beautifully coexist in that a zebra is never black or white. It is black and white. Some have gray in between, and so life is full of contradictions. But the contradictions make life, because then you live both the far ends of the emotion, and that is what like motherhood and education bring in Thai, especially if you're leaving your children and going in a country that's far off, and all you're doing is what we call the telephone, or now we call it the WhatsApp parenting, because it's a WhatsApp call then that you use to connect with your children back home. I think just before we move on, for me, one of the struggles beyond just the family and the self, as both of you have alluded, was the societal imprint that I was not okay leaving my husband. So I remember one of the questions somebody asked me, "You're leaving your husband?" I was like, do I need to carry him in my pocket? Like, I was surprised because my family had no issue with me going. But then the strangers outside felt that there was something that made me less of a partner or less of a mom. And they were not even, the worst is they were not even concerned about me leaving my children. They were concerned about me leaving my husband. And I was like, we need to come to realization that in our society, as women, even though we have partners, people, as you say, are very autonomous. I was like, even when I stay with him here in Kenya, I don't carry the keys to his manhood. So why would I be subjected to such questions like when I go out? So it's some of these things also just intersect between those balance, and the part of the society makes you question yourself a lot, even though sometimes you've reached in a space where you and your family and everybody else around it is okay. So as we reflect on this point, which is brings me to now the beautiful conversation, is just how has the process of the IDS, the GAD is Gender and Development Studies, as we call it in short, a beautiful course, just made you reflect on motherhood itself, the intersection and the contradiction that comes in itself, and your value as a woman and worth and contribution to the society.
I can say it's really transformative because I remember when we come to God classes, we started with vocabularies. We started I remember we created a group document, like Word document, where we can put words. So I kind of felt transformative, and also I can see that it's really interconnected, and also kind of created some confidence in me, and also how I can frame the world around me. We can have lots of things around me. The things that I feel as a mom, the overwhelming, the guilt, the feeling of being left behind, and also the model or the courage to move beyond, and all these things, I have them in me, and they were real, but I don't have words for them. I cannot really articulate them well. So that class gave me God gave me a way to articulate this word, the reality that I have in me, and also it kind of gave me a framework to see the real world, to see, equality, to see justice, to see power, and how the care world is as well. How my world look like in those frameworks. And also it kind of gave me, I think it kind of gave me, a frame where I can see my challenge, not as personal, but something broader than the personal challenge. And it's something which I can see goes through systematic systems or structures. So it kind of gave me a way to interact myself, and also to see the world beyond me. And also, so goes the solution, same way. So I can relate. That's why we are speaking here now with the same language, agreeing to each other, because we can have we pick something and we know how it goes. And same for motherhood as well. How I've been invisible, why my voice matters, why I should grow as a mother, and also the different kind of theories that we learned, from political economies or feminist political economy to intersectionality, give you the way that you could define yourself, how things are really interconnected, and how sophisticated things are, so that we can understand the reality around us, and the way we can solve them as well. So this is really an amazing opportunity for us to be in there. For
What has it been for you, like, Nella?
All right. Beautiful. That's the word. It's like a dream. It's like, you're still sleeping, you're dreaming, and it's your life. You're living it. Being in that lecture room, you start looking around and you're like thinking, I'm here. It's happening. It's me. I made it. I'm a mom and I'm a student at the ITS in the UK. So I think at the end of the day, we were gifted with a very diverse group in our GAD cohort, and that has definitely been a pillar for each and every one of us, because I believe every one of us has been able to tap into that diversity. And I have never sat in a space where women are crazy. Like literally, they just, I know I'm crazy, but when I went into that class, everyone just certified my craziness. Said, it's good for you to be crazy. Go ahead, be as crazy as you can be. And what that has done for me, it has opened up my pathways, the way I think and envision a world for women and girls. It has made it a reality. The work that I do with women back home, I have seen that it's not in vain. There are some people out there who are actually fighting for the same cause. And as a result, it has strengthened me as a woman. It has made me envision myself as a mother who can not only be a parent to my daughter, but to a group of young women. And I think I have like up to 10 or 15 young women that are my daughters, and they're all in their teenage years, and they feel I understand them. I don't know which part of me understands them, but I think the fact that I've been here and I've been taught not to judge people at face value, I've been, taught to understand that we all experience the world from different perspectives, has probably made it easy for me to walk into anybody's life or anybody's space and be able to accept who they are from where they are standing and learn from them from that point. Because I remember at some point in a class somebody said, I wish I was your daughter. I was like, are you sure you want to go down that line? Because I don't think my daughter has it as beautiful as people think she does. And I think when we are talking about this, it takes me back to what you were saying about your husband. I always think people believe that being a single parent is harder than, being in, a marriage. But I always feel it's the other way around, because I think when I make decisions, I always say I'm going to just dive in on my own, and if it doesn't work out, I'm going to find my way out. But when you're married, you always have to consider your partner, and that's not easy for most people. It comes with a lot of having to be humble and being considerate of the next person. So I think it's one aspect that I've learned to say, single or married, we can all learn from each other and, build a better space for women and girls at the end of the day.
And I think you raise a very good point, Nella, of the intersectionality that comes in being the different version, whether you're a woman or man in the society. You bring very different versions. And even how you live and your context make it very different. And I think intersectionality was the first class which we sat in, and we saw the world in a different lens, because then the question was not you are all equal, but who gets to determine what the equality is, what is the actual difference. And then you stop just using buzzwords the way in the developmental sector. We sometimes just say, oh, gender mainstreaming, equality, equity, without really reflecting on the broader aspect. I think for me, one of the things that has stood out for me in this class apart from the beautiful things we've shared, because the class is really beautiful, the global perspective, bringing different. We had the opportunity to sit with people across all the continents, I believe so. And so it was a very rich narrative and experience and learning that has come with this. But beyond that, for me, I think I can sum up the GAD for me as it has stopped me from, and looking at the world in how we, especially women issue, we usually use the clause of opt in or opt out, which is now a very common thing. So there's a trend in which, as we talk about feminism and the option of women having options, we've made it in such a way where we think women are very liberated and they have the freedom to either choose or not choose. So we loosely use the word, you can opt in or opt out. Like, why can't you walk away? Why can't you do this? Without reflecting on the bigger power issues that come around, issues that women face around the society, and why sometimes people are, stuck in the situations where they are, and reflecting on also that they loosely used opt-in and opt-out as a way in which sometimes we forget about the system and the structural issues that bring power imbalances. And so I think that has been a key learning, and for me is a key thinking and framing, even as a person who works in developmental sector, is, are we turning feminism into an opt-in and opt-out, and therefore creating more burden to women generally? Or are we having bigger conversation around power and intersectionality, and then questioning the system oppressions that then bring out those inequalities? I don't know what thematic theme has really stood out for you in CAD beyond the class experience.
I think for me it's always been, the politics of sexuality, and everyone in the class knows that I'm crazy about that. So it takes me back to when you're saying opt in or opt out. I think one subject that I have really learned to really interact with in depth is the subject of sexuality. I have been so emancipated by the course such that at this point I can, safely say I love, being able to ask somebody one question, and that question is always, how is that affecting your peace and happiness? Mm-hmm. How does that affect your immediate well-being? And if the answer is no, then the next question is, then why are you stressing yourself unnecessarily? Mm-hmm. Because I think for me the shifting point really was around the politics of sexuality. I think I kind of was in a loop where I kept learning and relearning and learning, and so much that I end up, feeling that that's one area that we do not really look at or look into, and how it affects us as women, because a lot happens around sexuality, how you experience being a woman, how your womanhood or womanness interacts with the next person. And I think my understanding of that element has literally changed how I view myself as an individual and how I view myself in relation to the women that are around me, even with men that are around me. So I definitely would like to say, for me, the politics of sexuality has been really a major grounding theory that I am taking with me from here into the world, and I'm definitely going to go out there and make sure that each and every person that I interact with understands that it's not black and white. It's not just as we always...
It's a zebra.
Exactly. You've said it. It's just always been a zebra, and it will remain a zebra. Thank you.
Yes. Fana.
For me, there are two classes which I can barely separate: power and empowerment and intersectionality. That's where the areas I've been working for a while as well. And the power and empowerment session was especially whenever we come to who I am, like how I define myself and how I view the world around me. and how the structures of power have been built for me to navigate or to stop somewhere was amazing, because it kind of gave me, okay, now this is a word in the K word called go see how our mother viewed, what kind of power is there in the areas of motherhood in the care world. What does the framework in any country looks like in terms of power, and how women are allowed to go beyond themselves, like beyond who they have been defined by the society, and what kind of knowledge are they even exposed to because of these powers that's within the society, whether it is power over, power within, power to, and power with, for that matter. So you can see the sophisticated things that holds women back or that will move them forward. So you kind of see even within those power frameworks, you can see how and who is allowed to move beyond those powers. So you can see how, who, when. That's what we are trying to break. That's what we are, while I'm like, I kind of feel, okay, this is me now. I'm here also. Okay, now I can find my other dimension there.
You're positioning yourself within the cube.
Of course. And like, I kind of feel the instructors, the books, the reading, and the lecture explaining me rather than somebody else, so that I can position myself with others. I will end up, like, it's where I stopped looking at self as a personal being. Rather, I belong with the majority who have been oppressed, who have been like not given a chance, whose power have been like bending them down while they try to struggle, like while they struggle to break through. So these are the two important sessions I value.
Okay, so as we come towards the end of it, I want us to reflect on two things, and maybe it will bring out two answers as we think about it. So one is, we've talked about the lesson we've learned in class, the experience we've had. So how do you feel this process has complicated your motherhood and womanhood? And complicated not necessarily in a negative way, but complicated maybe it has added on or subtracted something. And then from that experience, what are your biggest lesson for the future mom who consider going back to school? Because I believe the intention for us sitting down to do this was so that we give courage. As Fana had said that when she came, people were asking her, why are you doing this? And people are now, oh my God, you're the brave one. So we hope that by the end of this, people walk out with bravery. But that process is, what are these processes complicated for you as a woman and mother? And then what is that lesson then you want to extend to the society? And maybe if I can share a bit about mine, is I think for me, how it has complicated my process is now I think about things intentionally. So intentionally in that, as we talk about intersectionality and even power, and not just carrying the framework back to my community, it's thinking about how does the localization of those really mean in my world. So it has made me think about things very intentionally. And I think for me, it has given me growth of mind and the pause that I need to reflect. Because God invites you to reflect when doing everything. So even we say power changes start from the home. So even as a mom, I think of how the power dynamics I'm defining around my home and my sons and my husbands, and how that translates to even the women around me. And so basically with that for me, and the share then is, this is a beautiful journey that is both complicated, but then it just helps me grow throughout it. I don't know what that share has been like for you.
I think I can say I have been privileged during my time here to interact with the module reflective and creative practice for social change. And the one thing that I remember in one of my supervisions was don't think, because my practice was experiential writing. Don't think when you're writing, just write. It was not easy for me, and I had to write and just abruptly just stop. How do you write and just abruptly just stop? I didn't need a conclusion in my writing. And as the weeks went by, I realized that I discovered myself in that process. I am naturally a solution-oriented individual, but the process taught me that I don't have to have all the answers. So at this point, what has been complicated or uncomplicated in my case is I know that when I go home, I have a lot of work that I wish to do, but at the same time, I have come to know and understand that there's only one me, and I don't have all the solutions. I will be able to do the best that I can with the resources that I will have, and that which I cannot do, I'm not going to beat myself about failing to get it done. And naturally, that transcends into motherhood, because when you are mothering someone, there are beautiful days when the sun shines. There are heavy days when it's cloudy and rainy, like the UK weather. And the process of decolonizing development that I've learned in this institution is going to be part and parcel of that journey of motherhood. You're taking it as it comes, and at the end of the day, it does not become your burden, but it becomes a pathway that you're navigating as you are reaching towards your goals.
That's beautiful. For me, the process taught me lots of things, honestly. One of those things is being there for me and for the others. Because we had like an interdependent kind of things, because sometimes, institutions, this coming to ideas have lots of supporting environments, both for us and for the others. So I feel included, and but again, I feel supported by my peers here. And the thing is, it's not different. Oh, I'm here alone. You don't have kids now. You're all alone by yourself. You're enjoying. Nah. That's what people think. Because our burden is invisible. We are carrying our kids with us wherever we go, though they are there. And the institutions, though now we see how we are included, but how many institutions exclude women, and how many institutions are built in a way that is not designed to fit the kind of that women we are. Mothers who are learning with burden, which is a lot. So this process took me to this understanding that a woman, when supported, when it is designed in a more supportive way, we can exit. We can cross the path that is meant for us to be, and that is where we have to be. And also what I would like to tell the students or mothers who would like to join for us is there is no better time. It's just now. Because the barriers are always there. Unless they're and they're meant to be broken. And you are the one who will start breaking them. And it starts with us. So just be there for yourself. Try not to shrink yourself in somewhere where we don't really fit. So we are there, and we matter as well. We matter in a way, and we belong. We belong there fully, powerfully, and unapologetically. That's what I say to them. So there's no feeling of guilt for me now. That's what the process. So I chose myself. I chose to grow, and the growth is for me and for all.
I love that. A beautiful summary. There's no better time than now. And I know we sit here as women from Africa, but I believe we represent the global south, because I wish there was a mom from Asia. She would have been sitting right next to us having this conversation. So sitting here as African does not mean it's just an African conversation. It's literally a representative of the mothers from the global south. And as we completely wind up, I want you to give, I know you've said it's better now, but your one last word from any future mom from any part of the global south. What's that one thing you'll tell them about this journey that you feel really stand out? Just keeping it short, one word.
Choose you.
Choose you.
All right, Akinyi, I am sorry, mine's not going to be one word. I am going to talk to all the single mothers out there that have been rejected by their communities and by society. And I'm going to say, you're not alone. You are brave and you have got this. If the crazy me can do it, can you imagine what you can do? It begins with you believing in your dream and setting it in motion. And you do not owe the world an apology. You are where you are. It's time for you to get yourself forward to where you want to be. Thank you, and over to you, Akinyi.
I think for me, as a sum it up, it's a filled cup pours out. So you serve the community better when you are fulfilled as an individual. And this is part of the process of being fulfilled, so that then you pour out to the community. And I'd like to thank the Institute of Development Studies for giving us the opportunity to have this share and just have a peer conversation around motherhood. And I hope whoever is listening to this will pick one word, if not the many words you say, that will convince them to reflect about thinking about studying abroad. And even if the process of studying abroad is not now, you can think about self-development in small ways, because as we say, it's the small things build up to bigger things.
Definitely.
Thank you all.
Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share to help us spread the word. Do you have a feature that you would like to appear in a future episode? If so, then email betweenthelines@ids.ac.uk.